AS Media Evaluation. In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? When planning our film noir movie, we discussed how we wanted our film to use, challenge and develop the traditional conventions of film noir. After watching a variety of film noirs, we realised that in order to grip an audience of this generation, we would have to modernise some of the conventions. We researched the traditional conventions through films such as Behind Green Lights, The Hitchhiker, Detour and Kiss Me Deadly. As well as this, we also researched some of the more modernised conventions seen within neo-noirs such as Sin City and an episode named Shadowplay from the American TV show Pretty Little Liars. Some of the traditional conventions of film noir we have included are Rembrandt-style side lighting, black and white and murder. Other conventions include smoke, red lipstick, femme fatales, patriarchal society, sexual innuendos and corruption. We have used the traditional critique of having few characters within the film. This follows the majority of film noirs and can be mainly seen in the film The Hitchhiker, where only 3 characters are used. This film inspired us to have a minimum amount of characters in order to follow the traditional style of film noir. This way we can pinpoint the important characters and help to keep the plot simple. This idea of a simple plot has been taken from our research from the film Behind Green Lights. We decided to challenge this idea of a complicated plot and instead have a simple yet thought-provoking one. We have also used a similar idea to the film noir Kiss Me Deadly. In this opening scene we can see a woman running down a dark road trying to wave down a car. This is very similar to our opening scene, where our actress is also running down a street road and is trying to get to safety. We have also mirrored the technique of heavy breathing throughout the opening scene. However, within our film you can only hear this when the shot is from her point of view. We decided to use these ideas as it gave our opening a lot more mystery and tension. In addition to this, we decided to make our soundtrack rather eerie and tense. We chose high-pitched sound effects, making the pitch louder with every note to help build the tension. This is very similar to how the film Psycho has their soundtrack, as they repeat the same tune at different pitches, building up the sound to match what is happening during the scene. However, we have done it slightly different, helping to develop the technique. As a group we decided that in order to aim our film towards current audiences, we would have to modernise the traditional conventions of film noir. We were inspired by the American TV show Pretty Little Liars episode Shadowplay, where instead of the traditional convention of the main characters having a drinking problem, the main characters have a drug problem. We therefore thought to use this idea in a similar way, being that our character has a severe illness if she does not take her medication, resulting in her having strange behaviour. How does your media product represent particular social groups? Our film represents men and women in a way that is not stereotypical to the traditional film noir characters. At first, the audience may depict that the roles are very stereotypical due to Rosalie being seen as weak from having a mental illness and being stalked.
Rosalie, you've got the wrong person.
What's going on?
You can't run from
Why
me.
did you do it?
You need me.
She's so weird.
I'm right behind you.
Why me?
We're not done yet.
I know.
I can see you.
This idea that our film is stereotypical is then emphasised by the fact that her boyfriend Hunter is controlling her and preventing her from taking her medication. However, from our storyline we can see that this stereotypical situation of the man dominating the woman is not actually the case. This weak version of Rosalie is not actually weak at all, and that she is in fact very dominant. This is shown through the murder scene where Rosalie confronts Hunter about him being her stalker, in which he denies her accusation and ends up being killed by her. This then helps to show how Rosalie is not in a patriarchal society and that she has a certain amount of power over men. This is then almost the opposite of a traditional film noir's femme fatale, who is seen as weak, objectified, dumb and pretty. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? When looking at who would distribute our media product, we found that there were 2 main types of institutions, independent and conglomerate. Independent film companies are ones who distribute films that have been made outside of a conventional studio system. They tend to distribute smaller films that aim their product towards much more specific and niche audiences. Independent film companies such as Fox Searchlight Pictures help small independent films financially and within distribution. Conglomerates such as Universal tend to be much larger compared to independent companies, and they usually have links with other media companies so they can reach a larger platform. For example, Warner Brothers is owned by Time Warner. This way they can both benefit from each other's large following. Due to the wide range of topics addressed within our films, such as abusive relationships, mental illness and murder, we believe that our film has the potential for a large audience and a large amount of interest. Therefore, we believe that our film should be distributed by a conglomerate that can provide a large financial backing and help our film reach the large audiences. We decided to use the distribution company Warner Brothers, as Time Warner owns them, and they can therefore distribute our film on a large scale. Who would be the audience for your media product? Initially, we would have liked our film to be aimed towards all ages. However, in order to gain a more specific audience, we decided that the bracket of 15 to 45-year-olds would be the best suited as an audience for our film. We decided on this target audience as we believe that some of the conventions, such as the young actress and the thriller theme, would appeal to the younger audiences.
I want to know who was looking at her penis.
And why she was running around.
Yeah, why'd she have blood on her hands?
Yeah, what's she done?
As well as this, we found it easier to appeal our film to the younger generation, as our group are of a similar age range. This then means that we found it easier to include things that people our age would like. However, we also believe that older audiences would find other areas such as the serious theme and the fact that it is a style of film noir much more appealing, as they may have been brought up during this time when film noir was thriving. We specifically decided on the ratio of 65% women and 35% men due to the fact that we have a woman as the main character, and we thought that the women would find this more relatable than men. How did you attract or address your audience? We tried to attract and address our audience by making our film a thriller film noir. We did this as it is typical of young people to want to see scary films that are rated 15. Due to our film being aimed towards 15 to 45-year-olds, we thought that this genre of film would be the most appealing to this age bracket and help make our film more popular. In order to have this thriller genre, we created a tense storyline and included lots of short edits in order to build the tension and give the audience a sense of adrenaline, therefore making it more appealing. We also attracted our audience by filming in the traditional style of film noir. This meant that we could attract the older generation, as they may find that the film brings back childhood memories of when the traditional style of film noir was around. By filming in this noir style could also help to attract our audience, as it is different from what audiences see in cinemas today. What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product? From the process of constructing this product, I have gained a large amount of knowledge regarding technology, as I came onto the course not knowing a great deal about media. When I first began the course, the first piece of software I used was iMovie. I found this to be fairly easy, as it is known as a basic software for editing clips. I used this software when creating the short clip for time-lapse productions. However, once I had gotten to grips with iMovie, we swiftly moved on to Final Cut Pro. This is very similar to iMovie, however it is much more advanced, as it allows you to do things such as adjust the speed of a clip, and it also allows you to edit your video to a professional standard. In addition to this, I also used a various amount of online software when creating my evaluation, using sites such as Prezi and GoAnimate. Both are forms of Web 2.0, where audiences are encouraged to create their own form of media and share it publicly with others. Prezi allows you to create a presentation that you can then share with the public, who can then comment on your media product and give feedback. GoAnimate allows you to do a similar thing, as you can create short videos of animated characters that you can then share with others. I also used a website called WordPress, where it allowed me to publish all the steps in creating our film via text, photo and video easily. We also used software that was already available on the Mac, such as LiveType and GarageBand. We used LiveType in order to help create the credits for our film, helping to make our film look much more professional. Finally, we also used the software GarageBand, where we created and edited the soundtrack for our film. We connected a keyboard to the computer and recorded the notes we wanted to use for our film in the sound of the instrument we chose. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? From looking at our preliminary task, I feel like we have learned a lot since then. However, the first short film we made taught us a number of things. The first being the 180-degree rule. This is where an imaginary line connects the two characters. This can be seen within our preliminary task when the two characters are exchanging information. The second we learnt was match on action. This is an editing technique that helps with continuity, as it helps to show a completed movement. It is where one shot portraying the beginning of an action cuts to another shot showing the end of an action. therefore portraying the action of the subject in the first shot. This technique can be seen in our preliminary task when one of our characters pushes the door open. Finally, we learnt the shot reaction shot technique that is frequently used in most films. This is when a person performs an action and the reaction of those watching is recorded. This is usually used within conversation, when one person says or does something and the other person's reaction is recorded. All three of these rules taught us that continuity is important within a film. The preliminary task therefore helped us to progress by showing the importance of continuity and to make shots look effective.